Hello friends. Now let's move on to the video. First of all, I start by opening an empty Word document. Now let's start our first basic tutorials with an empty Word file. First of all, what we need to know here is that having specific heading styles will be the most important resource in creating your outline. Let's show what we mean by that. Now there are many styles available here. After you set at least 2 or 3 of these styles as heading styles yourself and set one as normal paragraph writing style, you can use this draft for many report, thesis, article drafts that you will write. I suggest a way for this. First of all, you can use the normal part in our normal paragraph. You can change it to Calibri or Times New Roman later by saying change here. I'm going to do it here in the form of Calibri. We will use Calibri, body, 11 font in classical writing. Here, only if we set 6 points in the before and after options in each heading and normal paragraph style in the paragraph section and the format section, we will have a smoother space. Besides, it would be good to have a 6-point space at the bottom to get a neater look. This is how I set it to be aligned left and right. After that, this part will be enough for the normal part. Afterwards, I think about choosing 3 headline types in the part that is important to us. And the main title can be these chapter names. It may be the name of a report, so I'll use it here. There will be 3 types here: Title 1, Title 2, Subtitle, and Mass for the main title, and the normal part. These 5 will be enough for us. Perhaps a list paragraph can also be used for reference. Or, when we choose the automatic list from here, it can be selected. Therefore, I can say that when we see the final version a little later, we can like them all. But first, if you wish, let's at least set our first title. For a classic Calibri, for example, I said change it here. Later on, I plan to rank this big title as 16-14-12. Let's go black here. Let it be left justified here. Let our thickness be light thick. It's slightly thick. This way we can get a nice view. There may be 12-point spaces before and after the paragraphs of our headlines. But again, 6 points will not look bad both from the top and from the bottom. Here we set the spacing like this. We adjusted the thickness and color. We set the title as 1 and set OK. And we have set the first of the main title as Title 1. Then, let's set Title 2 as a subtitle of this other main title. I said change it here. Afterwards, we set the previous one to 16, let's set it to 14. Let it be thick and black again. Let's set our title bold again, aligned to the left. Again, let's set our paragraph spacing to 6 points from here. And let's prepare the way to a more pleasant appearance. Finally, maybe we need another subtitle. Generally in article formats, 2 main headings and 2 subheadings may be sufficient. More precisely, 1 main title and 2 subtitles may be sufficient. Let's set the part that says subtitle as the title. So let's choose black again here. Let's set the point to 12 points. This time Calibri, body, and italic. I think this will give us a nice look. Again, I made a 6 points adjustment before and after the paragraphs. Here we will automatically create the latest table of contents. Let's set it to heading 3 so that it appears here. Because the first 2 can be adjusted automatically, heading 1 and heading 2 here. It normally writes normal here, but they have 1 and 2 throwing it away. This is how we set it here to be assigned to heading 3. Let's show these subheadings. We can show it if we wish. Its setting will be in the table of contents. This is how we set it up. Now we have a main title. Let's thicken our main title as 28 Calibri in this way. Let it lean to the left. Again, let's adjust our spacing between paragraphs. It's like 6 points, maybe more, because this is the main title, but that's okay, we set our main title in this way. Now here I will leave the first part blank. Because in this section, we are doing something like this, because we will place our figures and tables in the table of contents. We have the break part. We can find this break in the layout section here. Here in English it is called break. I skip a page from here and leave this page blank. I skip a page and leave that page blank. In order to see the transactions here, we can see that we have thrown a break here by showing the view part in order to see what we are doing here in the show and hide the following sign in our entry section. When we press enter here, this and the parts we will write under it will always affect the first page. Nothing on page 2 will cause scrolling. In other words, when we have a text here, when we press enter, this page break will not have any effect here until we pass the second page. You know, when we don't normally use these breaks, the text here starts to go down as you press enter. We don't want it to go this way. Actually, you can use such page breaks to prevent this. What I want to show here next is this part one took apart to create the table of contents. Here we go back to our draft later on. For example, let's have a main title here. For example, let's say we have a chapter. Let that be a topic for later. Topic the report/thesis. And let's have a similar title. Then let's have a main title as our main title. Let's have a text in this main title. I prepared something like this. For example, in this text, I pressed enter again later. Suppose we are writing another text. Then, let this main title have a subtitle like this. Then we have a text like this. Now let's have one more subheading in this section. Let's name it like this. Let subtitle the subtitle the main title be a quadratic subtitle. Then have a text like this. Now let's set this one by one from the styles here that we prepared before. First of all, let's say this is a big title. You can select the title for this here. And let's pull this up. Let's get a neater view. Then I set the main title to title 1 here. If you pay attention later, where do these 6 points we set work? If we want to see this, for example, let's change the settings of normal. Let's reset them. As we can see, they began to approach each other. Here, in order to prevent such a bad appearance, it is useful to adjust the intervals in each of our title work here. My suggestion here is that we usually have 6-point spaces from top to bottom, which will make it look better. Well, let's set the subtitle part of this main title as title 2. This is how I chose. Look, after setting it in this way, there can usually be another subtitle in the articles. I also set this subtitle as subtitle. Header 3 was not appearing here a moment ago. This is new here. So let's remember we set it as subtitle. So let's select it as subtitle. This way we can see it in italics. Now let's give them a number. For example, let this be 1. Because later we may need to do it sequentially with other numbers. I wrote a report, homework or thesis in this way and drew it to the left. Then this is 1.1. I set it like this because it has a title. This is also 1.1.1. I set it as the title. Maybe we can adjust the space over there a little bit. From here, we can adjust the distances a little closer to each other, perhaps by choosing 1 centimeter as follows. As you can see, in this way we have created a specific header directory. I'll take another look at the title styles we set here, and for example subtitles post here. Let's set it to Calibri Body instead of Calibri Light. Let's also set the 6-point settings. This way we got a slightly neater look. This is how we created a draft. Now that our draft is this, we can increase it to 1, 1.1, 1.1.1. It can continue with ease. Later here we will now create the automatic table of contents. Let's create in this region. I went to the references section for this. In the table of contents section, we have automatic table options. For example, when we make the part called automatic table, we can see the titles that we have just set up in this way. If we continue these, we can do as follows. I copied this. For example, for our next title chapter.x, I copied this as it is. I'm adding another breaks from the layout section starting from this region. And I'm on the new page. I pasted it as is. From here, I said Y to all of them. Their numbering also came automatically. So what have I done here? Look. I went from page 2 to page 3. We can even set page numbers by clicking Insert from here. I said page number. Let it be at the bottom of the page. I took the Y parts from page 2 to page 3 on the bottom right side like this. Well, look here, after we set our titles in this way, let's look at these contents automatically. Will there be Ys on the third page? I say Update Table. I say Update Page Numbers only. As you can see, the part we just added comes in this way. And now you can comfortably use it as a new title. You can prepare your drafts in this way and then save it to your desktop as template Calibri by saying Save As and use it in all your works. As I said, you can prepare your drafts in this way and then save it to your desktop as template Calibri by saying Save As and use it in all your works. We made the basic settings for the first login. Here you can now delete other parts. So don't get head 3 confused. You can remove all other parts. As you can see, I just kept this here. This can come as a list paragraph that is automatically selected in the references. I didn't delete it thinking it might be needed so it wouldn't cause a problem. But I don't think it will be much of a problem when we delete it. In other words, when we make our settings later in this way for the basic settings, for example, we can change the blue written part here. How can we change it? We can continue by setting it to title and setting its color to black. To see the transitions here, we have a break here. We start from the next page without any problems after our cut. Again, we add a break here. Then we can create a new chapter from here. When I continue to write something under here, there will be no problem as long as the break does not go to a new place. Let's pretend it's gone. It doesn't matter, it doesn't break it to start over again. It just increases the page. For example, we move to the next page by adding break. It just moves to a different page without breaking the head that it started with. In this way, our order is formed. And we can continue to do what we would do without disturbing a certain order. That's it for now, for my introduction. I think this part is enough. Let's undo our action over there a little bit. Let's take the break we added here and place it. You can create your drafts in this way by adding chapters one by one, and you can easily work on these drafts. Goodbye, see you in another video.